So I'm a little mad. I did this video already. It was damn near 50 minutes and it didn't record. Talk about frustration. But the video is about pandering and representation. Pandering is you're not represented. It's not beneficial to you. They're just doing it to light you up, see you happy, but you don't get any benefits from it. Representation is you get benefits from it and you may not be happy about it, but it benefits you in the long run. And you don't have to be mad about it. And I'm going to start off with this video right here. It's the 100 monkey experiment.
99 monkeys learned and became adapted to...
What the heck is wrong with these people? All right, let's get it.
The 100th monkey effect. In 1952, on the island of Koshima, scientists were observing the macaca Japanese monkeys, providing them sweet potatoes dropped in the sand. The monkeys did not mind eating the sandy potatoes until a young monkey started washing potatoes in a nearby stream. Only 99 monkeys learned and became adapted to washing the potatoes to eat in 6 years' time.
So what I said before was this. There was something that Q had said on the Q boards that threw me back to this. Last year, it was something about there's 3 million people going to the website to get the Q drops, to get the information, to research what Q was saying. That was interesting to me because the way that Q represented it was it's at critical mass, right? Enough people are getting the information to where it's unstoppable, right? And I said, and you could do that 3 million and each person say they talk to the minimum of 4 people about this, right? From 3 million to 12 million, right? And then say what happened, say the 4 people that these 3 million people talked to each was on the fence. Then they started seeing the proof of what they was talking about. Now you go from that to you go from 12 million to a astronomical number because of the connections, the 6 degrees of separation that we have. And that was something that was interesting to me. And it represents this. And they're going to explain it.
In autumn 1958, the day after the 100th monkey started washing the potatoes before eating, all the monkeys started washing the sweet potatoes. This phenomenon has been named the 100th monkey effect. Theoretically, as you reach a critical mass audience, you will have reached all the audience. Critical mass audience refers to the target audience of the brand.
So what was the brand Q was pushing? Truth. That's it. Truth.
Process of speed media, while reaching the target audience, is handled systematically through cooperation.
The truth can't fall away or disappear. Only lies can. Only lies can. The truth will always find a way to represent itself somehow, even if it's suppressed. It's out there.
And math-oriented joint study of the departments of marketing math, human math, design math, operation math. In order to deploy the resources in an optimum manner, it is important to read data, trust numbers, and be rational. Marketing math gathers data from across all marketing channels and consolidates it into a common marketing view. It simplifies and visualizes complex and big data sets, then analyzes these data sets using statistics and mathematics to quantify the relationship. Human math questions the target audience behavior. Not only from heuristic perspective, it also explains the character of the target audience within the creative rational mathematical models. Human math plays a critical role in the healthy journey of the brand's message to consumers. This view leads us to optimum return on investment. Effectiveness is the core aim of Speed's efforts for her clients. In light of our findings from the data and insight, Design Math lays out the required operations in order to realize the marketing solutions with the desired outcomes.
So this is basically telling you they know how to manipulate people once you get it to critical mass. And Q used the system that they put in place to distribute truth. And Bill Binney and this guy kind of goes over that in not so many terms, but how the deep state was affecting us by not showing or representing who they really were.
Unconstitutional warrantless mass surveillance on U.S. citizens. He debunked the DNC hacked the conspiracy theory that the DNC was hacked by Russians, and he also continues to be an outspoken advocate for civil liberties and against unconstitutional violations by the intelligence industry. It is our pleasure to have back with us the great American Bill Binney. Bill, thanks so much.
All right, wait, let's go back real quick, because there was some of the stuff that he said that attributes to the 100th monkey thing. So remember, Russia came out, they was giving information, they was telling everybody, and in 2017, 18, this guy figured out that the Russian collusion was a fraud. You tell people, they didn't believe you. You tell people today, they believe you.
The U.S. National Security Agency, that's putting it mildly. He was a whistleblower who exposed that the NSA was doing unconstitutional warrantless mass surveillance on U.S. citizens. He debunked the DNC hacked the conspiracy theory that the DNC was hacked by Russians, and he also continues to be an outspoken advocate for civil liberties and against unconstitutional violations by the intelligence industry. It is our pleasure to have back with us the great American Bill Binney. Bill, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, that's right. Yesterday was my birthday, yeah.
Okay.
I won't say what the number is because I don't like to remember that.
I hear you. You look fantastic. So this is from the ACLU. A federal appeals court just ruled that the NSA's bulk collection of America's phone records was illegal. This ruling, which confirms what we have always known, is a victory for our privacy rights. So a three-judge panel on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the program, which was revealed by whistleblower Edward Snowden, violated U.S. surveillance laws and potentially the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. The metadata collection program was created and approved by the Secretive Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, that's the FISA court, after the passage of the Patriot Act in the wake of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Snowden, who was cited repeatedly in the court's decision, revealed the surveillance program's existence just months after their trial in 2013. Under the program, the NSA collects and analyzes bulk data provided by telecommunication companies. And Edward Snowden commented on this. He said, 7 years ago, as the news declared, I was being charged as a criminal for speaking the truth. I never imagined that I would live to see our courts condemning the NSA's activities as unlawful in the same ruling crediting me for exposing them. And yet, that day has arrived. The ruling of the court demolishes the long-held defenses of mass surveillance. After taking into account the best of the government's evidence, the court found the program unlawful and ineffective, establishing the government's public claims of necessity were deceitful. And this is from the Freedom of the Press, says the judge repeatedly cites the Snowden disclosures, showing once again the power of whistleblower driven by conscience and a press dedicated to the truth. All right, so let's bring Bill Binney back, famous NSA whistleblower himself.
But mind you, he just read that the government is taking everybody's information. Snowden revealed that. This guy reveals it. I mean, this goes back to the 100 monkey thing that Q used to get the information or the truth widespread across the world.
Was framed by the FBI and he outsmarted them, so he didn't end up in prison. He's here with us, and he's famous for debunking the Russia hacked the DNC server, which CrowdStrike recently admitted in court they have zero evidence that happened. So you were proven right once again, Bill, so congratulations on that. So can you just comment on what this federal appeals court just said?
Actually, this is the second appeals court to declare those collections illegal. The first was the Second Circuit in early 2012. That came up to that court, and they also declared it illegal and likely unconstitutional. So, and also there was another case that made it to the Supreme Court, Amnesty International versus Clapper, which was also challenging that kind of collection. It's not just metadata either; it's content also. I keep saying this, and I've been saying this for 19 years. They collect everything. Okay, nothing is missed. And I know the collection points and all the locations of where they are across the country, internally in the U.S., all around the world too. So I know all of that. And I did it, finding it by using Google. Okay, but the point is that they've been doing this all along, and they've been trying to keep it out of court. And what they did in the case of the Amnesty International versus Clapper, that made it to the Supreme Court, the Solicitor General lied to the Supreme Court to get it thrown out. That happened. That's published if you look up the Amnesty International versus Clapper.
So yeah, they're using all this technology. They're using all this technology that they're talking about in this video to deceive. To trick people, to give propaganda so you don't know the truth. They don't want you to know about the human mind.
In case you'll see all the lies that were given by the Solicitor General to get that thrown out. But that was also doing this challenge. Now, we have one in front of them that's going to be reviewed on the 29th of September as to whether or not the Supreme Court will hear that case. And it's again challenging the constitutionality of them doing this. I mean, it's basically straightforward, unconstitutional for them to collect all the communications, phone calls, emails, chatter, web surfing, all of that, and financial transactions and travel for every U.S. citizen in the country. That's just fundamentally illegal. They're also mapping where you are every minute of every day, so they're tracking everything.
So that's what they're doing, man. They're tracking everything we say and do. This is what they're talking. This is what he's saying right here. I'll play this for you.
The resources in an optimum manner, it is important to read data, trust numbers, and be rational.
This is how they're using the internet. This is how they're using it to deceive people. You get on Facebook and your feed is just going to be whatever mumbo jumbo that they want to put in front of you with the algorithm. That's why it's important people think for themselves. See? That's what they're going to give me to try to rile me up. You understand?
So, why do we need a court to tell us this?
Because when Congress passes a law, even though it's a stupid law, unless it's constitutionally challenged in court, it can stand as a law. So in other words, when they gave retroactive immunity to the telecommunications companies back in 2008 for violating the constitutional rights of everyone, that's standing because no one's been able to challenge it in court, in federal court as unconstitutional. Once that happens and it's declared unconstitutional, it's stopped. It's no longer a law. So in other words, if they can keep the arguments out of court, then they can keep all these bad laws they passed to basically participate as co-conspirators in violating our constitutional rights.
When they wrote these laws, they knew they were unconstitutional because I know they were unconstitutional. I mean, it's like you don't need to be a judge or even a lawyer to figure that out, right?
No.
And
it's
yet,
pretty straightforward.
And yet, nobody in this country seems to give a shit about this, right? Isn't that weird? Is it because the media doesn't care?
Yeah, I don't understand this myself, Jimmy. I mean, it's just un-American. I mean, I don't know of in the past any Americans that would stand up for it. I know that some of the people who were interviewed for the records for like military service, people who were fought in World War II, were saying things like, "What did we fight for?" Because we were fighting for the freedom and human rights in our Constitution, and that's been thrown away.
Under the guise of keeping us safe, which is exactly what dictators say.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly what. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's exactly what the Nazis issued in Special Order 48 right after the Reichstag fire. It said exactly that. If you go back and look at that, it's on the web. You can go read it. And then go read NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, Section 1021, says exactly the same thing,
So what section, correct me if I'm wrong, what Section 1021 of the NDAA Act says is that the government can arrest you and then put you in jail without a charge indefinitely if they charge that you're a terrorist, right?
Yeah, without any due process. That's right.
Without any due process.
Right.
So these people strictly go against what is constitutional, meaning what is law. That's all that means. They pretend that they're stand-up Americans, but they go against the law at every chance they get. Every chance. They don't care about sorry about that. They don't care about wait, what? I don't know if y'all seen that, but this is authorized. I don't know what's the difference. I'm not even gonna sweat it. Oh, these people, they don't care about the law. The law is not in their hearts. They don't know nothing about the Hermetic principles. They don't know nothing about the 10 Commandments. They only care about control, control, control. Communism, top-down situation.
So right now, so what that means is,
people don't represent us, man, and it should be evident, but we're so inundated with foolishness that we can't even see the roadblocks that they set before us to destroy us. We can't even see those. We get the internet. Oh, it's a blessing. Then they taking people off the internet. I mean, there's countless things that they're doing. Countless. They're not giving you education. They're putting you as criminal elements in TV, movies, news. There are no educational system, no schools, no jobs, no factories. People's connections across the world to pedophilia and child trafficking from China to South America. These people get caught red-handed using their money from foundations as bribe money to deceive Americans, and we still give them the time of day. It's like we don't even want to look at the truth and what's represented in the truth to free us from the foolishness that they're putting in before us. They're stealing your rights because they have no consciousness.
I try to explain this to people. That means that Barack Obama and the Democrats and the Republicans both agree that we should get rid of habeas corpus. Because that's what they did. Right. They got rid of the writ of habeas corpus. And I try to remind people, habeas corpus is in the Magna Carta. So yes, we got rid of that. They repealed the Magna Carta, and now we are operating on a liberty view from somewhere around the 1100s.
Yep.
Is that, could you confirm that?
Absolutely. It also throws away, scraps our 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments.
So these people are lawless. They came over here with the Nazis. They're lawless criminals. And then, you say, oh, we need a woman in charge. Well, we have a woman in charge, and her name is Queen Elizabeth. And look at what she's doing to these people. Look how she's controlling the world. Look how she's stealing children and doing all type of foolish shit.
And I chalk it up to the fact that we have media owned by 6 billionaires who aren't interested in democracy or our constitution.
So this guy, Bill Binney, is representing United States, right? He's not pandering. He's not just saying these things just to say them, just to look good. He's saying them so that we can get benefit from it. It's unpleasant to hear these things that they're doing to us, but it's a good thing because it's showing us what we have to do to clear the slate, get rid of the enemy. That's representation. I'm going to get into the pandering in a second. This is representation.
Or anything, and that's what's going on. That's why people don't care, because people are just tools of propaganda anyway, which is why half the country thinks Russia controls our elections. It's because they're just victims of propaganda. And
people don't understand how the elections work. If you go sit there, the day you do it, they count your ballot. How can there be any more? How can you not be any more honest?
And it really, it just...
Let me add something to that. It's a little more malicious than that.
Sure.
Back in 1983, I believe it was, Casey, the former director of CIA, I think I mentioned this to you on a previous program. He said that we are actively infiltrating the mainstream media, and you'll know that we've succeeded once everything that's believed by the population of the country is false.
So that is a true quote. I looked that up. That is that he actually said that. That was the head of the CIA.
Yep.
We'll know we're successful when everything the American people believe is false. And so that's happened because everything the American people believe about our elections is completely false. They think that it's controlled by a foreign government, and what it's really controlled by is corporations here in America. And and your democracy was stolen from you a long time ago, and it's done right out in the open. And
this is a republic, not a democracy. So I hate when people use those wrong words, but whatever.
It's called campaign finance. And that's why if you look at the Princeton study, your opinion never gets reflected in legislation. You know whose opinion gets reflected in legislation? The upper 10% of income earners. So if 50% of the upper 10% want something to be passed legislatively, 50% of the time it does get passed. 100% of the lower 80% of income earners could want something, and it ain't never getting done. Like Medicare for all, by the way, which 9 out of 10 Democrats want, and a majority of Trump voters also want. That is never happening because our government has been hijacked, not by Russia, but it's been hijacked by Goldman Sachs, and it's been hijacked by Pfizer, by Raytheon, and Exxon. That's who has hijacked our government. It is not Putin or Russia, which you proved, right?
Yep.
And so,
also, I would add to that the bankers and Silicon Valley and a large number of the higher level permanently in place bureaucrats in the agencies of the U.S. government.
Yeah, these people could say it better than me, man, because they live in it. He was an NSA whistleblower. He worked for the NSA.
okay.
They're all a part of this,
So, when you talk about William Casey saying that that quote about how we'll know we're successful and the American people believe nothing but falsehoods, they used to have to hide and they used to have to infiltrate newsrooms. Now, I don't know if you notice what's going on, but they just out in the open hire CIA people as their staff members, and now those are the people who populate the green rooms at MSNBC and CNN. Have you noticed that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
And so they don't even pretend to hide that they don't debunk the CIA. They go to the CIA to say, come on our show and spread propaganda, which they don't debunk. They treat the CIA guy's word as truth.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And they lie through their teeth, and they get away with it without any accountability.
So let me just get to your Supreme Court case. Now that's coming up. When does that start?
They do a review of these cases.
That you developed, which are unconstitutional.
They haven't changed a damn thing with them. They're still the same program. As I've included, a lot of the material from Snowden showed the diagrams of the programs that I organized for them, and they haven't changed a damn thing with them. They're still the same programs. You know, they didn't even change the names on some of them.
So you're talking about the surveillance programs that you developed, which are unconstitutional.
Right. I had built in the three things that made them constitutional. One was the filter right up front where you only pulled in bad guys and those that fell in a zone of suspicion based on deductive, inductive, abductive logic, which would have been like 1.0000001% of the data would be all you'd take.
So he basically saying, listen, man, I made the surveillance thing for the government, but I put in fail safes so that regular humans, regular people won't be surveilled just because. You have to find the program has to have a reason. It has to. I made it like that. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. And the rest of it would simply go by. That would give everybody in the planet, privacy.
And we need. I'm not opposed to the internet. I'm opposed to them controlling the internet,
including U.S. citizens and everybody around the world. And then I encrypted anybody that came in that we pulled in that we didn't know was a terrorist or a criminal of some sort. I encrypted all their attributes, so even the analysts inside NSA couldn't tell who it was. And certainly FBI or DEA couldn't go into the NSA database like they do now and interrogate anybody they want to. They couldn't because they wouldn't know who they're looking at, right? So, and then the final one was an audit routine that audited everybody that came into the network to see where they went, what they did while they were there, who they looked up, all of that. So nobody could have hidden anything they were doing. And they didn't like any of that. Hayden and Tenet and Bush and Cheney took those things out and just took in them and removed the filters so that allowed them to pull in everything.
So there's no filters. And that was something that Robert David Steele was saying that kind of made me mad. The NSA can't do it, whatever. And he's best friends with this guy. And he's saying opposite. So why did David Steele say what he said? Is he working with these people, or does he not like Tory? I don't know. I don't know.
So the mass surveillance that's unconstitutional, that the court just ruled was unconstitutional, you are the person who actually invented those systems, but you had built into it safeguards to protect Americans' identities, which would then make it constitutional, but then they got rid of those protections, so now it's unconstitutional. You blew the whistle on that, and they tried to put you in.
So that's what they was talking about with the Magna Carta, the Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment. This is what they was referring to, and this is the stuff that they're used. This is what they're listen. This is just a minuscule overlook of it. They just use math, but they're talking about marketing, and they're using all these data points to target you based off of what you like. Oh, you like green? We'll send them green shoes, green pencils, green shirts. We're going to target him with this specific thing because in pictures, he wears a lot of green. He talks about green a lot. Let's give him some green. This is what he's talking about. So this is representation, right? Let's get into, because this is all about the Candace Owens, Cardi B situation. Pandering, representation.
All right, yo, did y'all see the Candace Owens Cardi B beef?
Yeah.
Oh, this shit is so funny, bro.
This is a tough one.
This shit is so funny, bro.
It's a tough one.
Why? Why is it tough?
I can't say. Taylor, what's your thoughts on Candace
Say
Owens?
why. Say it.
I mean, all her points weren't that off.
Who? Candace, right?
Candace, yeah.
Candace a bad bitch, yo. She nice
I'm
with this.
sorry.
So remember at the beginning, what I was saying was, the evildoers used this system. Q used this system to make the truth widespread, so more people knew about it. 2008, 2017, 2016, 2015, Trump was talking about these things. These things was out there, but it wasn't widespread. I knew about Hillary Clinton in Haiti since 2015, maybe 14. And, it's now widespread.
I don't want to, but if you
Yo,
listen
look at Taylor's
to her,
face. Can you please get to Taylor's face? Please
Taylor,
look at Taylor's face. Shoot
Taylor,
him.
it's okay.
Yo,
Taylor.
you got mad bullets in your gun. Use them.
Taylor, it's
Like-
okay. Hold up.
And I, you know what's sad is I
Let me
shouldn't
set
shoot
it
you
up.
because you're a black man. And that's
Stop
what's
it.
so crazy.
Stop it.
So hold on, see, she, oh my god,
Stop it.
Nah, but sometimes
You hear what she just said? I should shoot you because you're a black
No, I
man.
said I shouldn't.
Oh, you shouldn't.
No.
But then sometimes you gotta do it.
I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not
Okay.
doing that.
So here's let me just set it up for everybody listening at home that hasn't seen it yet. Okay. Candace Owens is a troll. She is the 6ix9ine of right-wing politics.
yes,
And she garners her fans by riling up the opposition.
see, he's putting in his low conscious motivations into somebody else that is trying to show the dangers of people that don't know political situations and is pretending to represent us with the low knowledge of what they're really pushing on the people. And Candace is shedding light on that. But people like this, who's just an entertainment podcast, self-proclaimed smart guy, Andrew Schultz, is saying that Candace Owens is pandering. But you have to understand, this is bigger than just, right versus left. This is about globalists, people that want to run up in your house for saying the truth, people that want to put deadly vaccines into your body, which Bill Gates was doing in India and in China, in Africa, right? These people are human rights, what do they call it? Criminals against human rights. But for some reason, people can't see the totality of the picture and think that, Candace Owens is just pandering. No, she's pointing out pandering.
Especially celebrities that are in the opposition that have dabbled in the political realm. Candace is an operative, a tool used by the right, okay? She can say all the things that the extreme right cannot say because a lot of times the extreme right are old white guys. So old white guys cannot tell black people to shut up about Black Lives Matter. They cannot tell black people cops don't kill them. They cannot tell black people that they need to leave the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is the one that enslaved them and they're just slaves and being used. So they get a black female to do it so that they cannot use her.
So they get a black woman to tell the truth, and that's pandering. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's people like this that muddies the water for people that aren't aware of the situations at hand, right? We're talking about people that want to put digital money out, and you can't get a job unless you get mandatory vaccines. Jobs are saying you can't come back to work unless you get this vaccine after November. Is that pandering? Is she getting paid for that? For telling the truth? That's pandering. They have to pay her to tell the truth, to pander to black people. It's bigger than that. It's not pandering, it's representation. Pandering is what Cardi B is doing. I don't like Trump. Biden is the best for us. But does she know about Ukraine? Does she know about China? Does she know about the billions of dollars that went to Iran? So how can she represent somebody?
Identity against her, right? Because if a white guy said it, there'd be a lot of people just like, oh yeah, you white male patriarchy, shut the fuck up, you're just racist. Black woman does it, you can't call her. You gotta call her a sellout, you gotta call her a coon or whatever the fuck it is, right? So, she is on Ben Shapiro's show and she calls out Cardi B for being, I guess, a liberal shill.
Yeah.
Which she is. Now, Cardi, she's saying, is being used by the Democrats, which she is.
And she says it's insulting to black people's intelligence.
And she says insulting to black people's intelligence. I think that's debatable.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. It's okay to be used if you want to be used for that. In other words, any employer.
But see, now you take it into something different. See, that's where they muddy the water. As these people muddy the water. You want to be used to do things that is beneficial. If I'm going to work, I'm doing it so that I can support myself and my family. If I'm supporting a political person that is a criminal, I am not doing something good. I am pandering, and I'm only doing it for myself. That's a different level. These aren't just actors saying, I'm going to get this because I'm working with these people and I just want money. No, this is something different. Political stuff is different. These people affect our lives. They put police, they put regulations, they put laws, they put policies in place to destroy families, cities, states, government. It's not the same.
Is using an employee. If that employee wants to be used for that job, that's a beautiful relationship.
And what did you just say Candace Owens is? She is a shill for the Republican Party.
Being used. 100%.
And she
if Candace
wants to be
Owens was a white man, she would be out of a job.
100%.
Candace Owens is nothing without her identity.
Yeah.
She would be.
What about Glenn Beck? What about, what's that dude? Rush Limbaugh. They still working. What about Crowder? He's still working. What are you talking about? What about Joe Rogan, your best friend? He's still working. What about you? You still working? And you say a lot of dumb shit.
Be another political pundit. She'd be Rush Limbaugh or one of these other guys that would just be thrown out to the fray and called a racist and been told to shut the fuck up. But she is a lightning rod because of her identity. Nobody benefits from identity politics more than Candace Owens.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Yeah.
And she is the one that's trying to push back against identity politics.
Yeah.
Identity politics goes away, you don't have a job, Candace.
Not true. Not true. I'm not going to roll with it. I don't really like Candace like that because of different reasons, but it's not true. She would still have a job by pushing the truth and standing on the truth and representing the people and making people's lives better. So what the f you talking about?
And she knows this. In the same way, the right uses Candace, the left uses children to make their arguments. So they use Greta Thunberg for the environment. Throw a little girl out there. Right-wing people don't want to criticize a little girl.
But see, that's what the Democrats do. We have to take it out of this left-right paradigm. We have to make it about good and evil. Who's doing right by the people? Who's representing the people? Who's making sure that the people are safe? Who is talking to the people and making sure that they are representing their district, their city, their state, and not putting burdens on them?
Girl, throw those kids that were in the school shooting, throw them out there and tell people not to use guns.
That's the last people you can argue with.
You're not going to argue with some kids that were in a school shooting, right? So every political side uses these operatives. Candace is making a true.
See, and that's the thing. This is that old left-right paradigm that he's talking about.
True point, which is Cardi's being used. Cardi is saying, yeah, I want to be used.
Yeah.
I align with these political viewpoints.
Yeah.
Candace is saying, you don't know what they are. And her point when she kind of, I guess, executed it a little bit further is like, you say you want to save money in taxes. You say you want to do, I think she had a couple other things on her agenda, Cardi B.
Yeah.
And it's like all those things kind of line up with the Republican platform, not the Democratic one. So Candace went about it in this like dragging culture type of way where like, I'm going to criticize you. I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to have the timeline going, oh, you got lit on fire. Ooh, whatever. But the points that she was making about Cardi and when she articulated what Cardi is saying she wants and how the Democratic Party does not service that could stand up. Absolutely. But to say that she's just being used, it's like, yeah, well, Candace, so you're being used by Prager University. You're being used. Like,
How?
Of course. Everybody here is being used.
How? If they gave her a platform and say, hey, talk to our audience, we're not going to tell you what to say. We don't care what you say. Be yourself. How are they using her? You know, we say these fantastical opinions about the world and about people that we never met, never talked to, right? We can only assess based off of their words and their actions. And I feel like he doesn't take that due diligence and say, okay, yeah, Candace is right, but her being used by the Republicans, that's crazy.
And are people pandering? Yes. Donald Trump is pandering. Cardi B is pandering. Joe Biden is pandering.
She's acting like Donald Trump doesn't have Kim Kardashian at the White House and Kanye West at the White House.
Everybody's pandering.
Yeah.
It's election season, baby. It's time to tap in.
It's not the same. Look at what Kanye represents. Look what this girl is doing. Who is doing that in the Democratic stuff? It's so crazy.
That's what everybody's doing. And we are going to tap dance on the biggest fucking platforms. 100%.
And that was the only thing so all the points you just made, I agree with. And Cardi pushed back on like, oh, they're not just speaking to me to pander to the black vote. And I disagree because that's the only reason why they would speak to Cardi B.
Yes.
That's the only reason. It's just to pander to your fans, and the majority of your fans are black people who listen to hip hop and WAP.
Yeah.
Yes.
The best response would have been, you're just as much of a tool as me. That's just...
To be honest, I don't think black people really care about Cardi B like that. But
that's what this is.
Yeah, if Cardi clapped back that way, that would have been good. But I'm just saying what Candace said isn't wrong.
It's not wrong.
Yeah.
They are trying to get black people to vote for Biden.
That's why he has Kamala, too.
And that's why he has Kamala as well.
And that's another thing. They see the clear pandering, but they can't distinguish between the two. I'm about to get into why they can't distinguish between the two.
That is a pandering move.
Yeah.
Now, the line between pander and service and representation is very thin.
It's really not. So here. It says, for when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, meaning, okay, they don't have the law, right? And they are manifesting the law, the negative part of the law. It proves that the law is real, tangible, something that is operating on the earth, right? These having not the law are a law unto themselves, right? Which show the work of the law written in their hearts. So if they're doing all manners of evil, destroying children, destroying neighborhoods, taking jobs out of neighborhoods, giving you $7 an hour so that you have to work 50, 60, 80 hours a week just to make sure that you and your children can survive. No vacation times. If you want a vacation time, you have to work this particular amount of time in order for us to give you vacation time. You can't take a year off when you have a baby, or 2 years. These people don't give a shit about us. Which show the work of the law written in their heart, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else accusing one another. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Oh, it's QAnon's fault. Oh, it's Candace's fault, because they're telling the truth. So it's okay that the NSA and the CIA and the FBI use information to deceive the people, use CNN to put full blatant lies out, to talk about Russia and not talk about China and the things China is doing, for Como to come out and say, oh, this is Donald Trump's fault when the virus came from China. I mean, these things, these things are super in your face. Super in your face. Now here in Psalms, it says, he showeth his word unto Jacob. He showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and judgments unto Israel. He has not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise the Lord. So when they're doing all this manner of evil, right? Lying, he's lying. If he's lying consciously or not consciously, I don't know. Him showing the level of evil that the lobbyists and internet and defense contractors, military, what do they call it? The military industrial complex, exposing these people for doing these things, showing the 100th monkey experiment and how they use these things to deceive a number of people. How can you ignore it? How can you ignore it? So Cardi B doesn't know what she's talking about, don't understand the difference between Republican, Democrat. Show her ass everywhere, showing stripping, dancing everywhere. Is she a thinker? She might have knowledge, but there's levels of knowledge. Does she understand the globalists and the patriots? Does she understand how schools and all that stuff was taken out of the neighborhoods and how to remedy it? Does she understand the Israelite doctrine, the Moorish doctrine? Does she understand Egypt? Does she understand Sumerian information? Does she understand Judas Dred Scott? Does she understand any of those things in order to be able to talk to you about the world that you perceive? So just look at the world. All this manner of evil, is it represented as good? Homosexuality, children that are transgender, Charlize Theron taking a black child and making this boy into a girl, dressing him up as a girl, and then saying that that's what he wants, when children don't know the difference between boy and girl yet, or even about themselves. We show the work of the law written in their hearts. So, man, this is what you have to realize. Q used the internet the way that these intelligence agencies use it to deceive the people. Just on time. Just on time. So, with that, I'm Furious Black. I'm glad I was able to do this video again and make sure that you guys heard me this time. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And share. Remember, share. Peace.